Welcome back to part 2, where we're taking 22 horses and turning them into reliable, safe trail partners using the Training Through Trust method.
The biggest danger on a trail isn't terrain. It's a horse's survival instinct taking over when they get scared. Today is about teaching them how to handle fear. You'll see me apply erratic pressure with a flag in the air or a whip moving. We're triggering that flight response in a controlled way. We aren't just chasing them, we're teaching them to switch from flight to facing pressure and standing still. They learn to trust leadership more than fear. Once the herd understands that, we'll move into the round pen with a single horse and go deeper, teaching him to yield to or correctly respond. I'm going to use a rope to apply uncomfortable pressure to different parts of the body, not to punish, but to create a conversation. We stimulate stress here in a controlled environment so we can teach the horse that the answer to discomfort isn't to panic. It's to find the release and relax. That's where safety begins. Let's get to work.
We need 3 or 4 sticks around here. Here, I'll give you this.
In this lesson, we have the herd in the round pen and students around the outside waving whips quickly and erratically. They've seen the whip used frequently to apply strategic pressure and taps during their pecking order training, which serves as a foundation for our communication. While we use the whip for our taps, which are a huge part of how we communicate, that delivery has to be strategic. When we introduce the lunge whip as erratic, like you see here, it's out of the blue pressure. We're intentionally tapping into the horse's core survival instincts.
Just try to keep it as flat line as possible.
Every horse relies on 5 survival instincts: the pecking order, flight, fight, do the opposite, and conserve energy. When they run and that pressure doesn't change, they're in flight mode. It's much like a predator-prey dynamic. If a horse feels they can outrun the predator, they'll keep running. But notice what happens when the pressure stays constant and close. Just as a horse in deep snow or with a sore leg realizes they can't outrun a predator, they will quickly shift from flight to fight. Working with a group adds a layer of complexity to the training. You'll often see the bulk of the herd wanting to stop while a few outliers continue to run around the outside. Our goal with this whipping technique is to maintain that pressure until they learn to stop, teaching them to process their instincts rather than just reacting to the fear. At the end of this training, the focus shifts to building trust and positive associations. I'm moving from horse to horse here, simply touching and loving on them as a reward for standing still. Most of these horses associate being approached with the game over feeling of being caught and haltered. To change that mindset, I follow a simple theory. It takes 10 right experiences to correct every wrong one. By offering lots of catching time, it doesn't actually involve being caught. We're overcoming those past negative experiences. We are rewriting their expectations, teaching them that human contact is a source of comfort rather than a loss of freedom. Most training methods suggest a gradual approach to the flag, letting the horse see it, realize it won't hurt them, and slowly working it closer to their body. I take a different approach.
Okay, so this category is teaching them how to handle fear, and it's sometimes it's the opposite of what I was ever taught, for sure, and it's the opposite of what you'd think. And I've realized through patterns is when you add pressure to them and they're able to get away from it, running away from it worked. And I've learned that from the communication side of things. And when their survival instincts are flight, fight, and do the opposite, if the horse is able to get away from a command or get away from a flag or a wolf or anything by running, that's what they choose to do. If running don't work, then they turn to fight. Fight is when they can't run away because the wolf gains ground on them because they're running on top of the snow or they're in thick brush so they can get the jump on them. They stand to fight. Startle effect is that, and then bring it, right at his shoulder. So he was kind of backing up from it. So notice the slack did not come out of that line. Now I take it away, and then same thing. I'm going to come out of the blue, but I'm going to take it to him quicker. So I'm going to startle and bring it to him right away. So I'm start counting him steps. I don't want to slap him with it because startle is not towards him. Startle is straight up and rattle with my hand. So rattle, rattle, and bring it to him faster, right? So now I can start counting feet. Yeah! You see, that sucker dive bombed me.
Straight for the eyes.
Okay, that's another level. Did you see the size of that?
There's a startle effect.
Okay, watch 1 foot. Oh, one more foot, the other foot. Good decision. So right away I turn away and really end it right there.
In my program, we focus on 3 core concepts: the peck and order, handle and fear, and yield into restraint. While the peck and order is a daily conversation, the lessons for handle and fear and restraint are what I call one and dones. Once a horse truly learns these, they only need to be repeated if problems arise, like if a horse spooks or starts trying to pull away from the command. A horse that hasn't learned to yield will bolt, buck, or pull back when they feel trapped. We use a specific exercise called send while tied. In this lesson, we tie the horse to something they cannot break and send them forward into the end of the rope. By moving our feet forward, they learn that the answer to pressure is to yield, not to fight or pull back, even when the environment gets electric.
Yeah, swing the rope till he's close enough and then just rope him on around the neck first.
Handle and fear isn't about tiptoeing around the horse. It's about giving him a choice in a difficult situation. This horse here is young and had already bucked a rider off during his first year attempt, so I need to know how he handles pressure before I get back in the saddle. I've got the rope around his neck and tucked under his tail, a placement that usually triggers a buck, a bolt, or a kick. My goal is actually to cause that reaction, so I have something to hang on to. I'm going to maintain that exact same pressure throughout the panic until his own instinct to conserve energy finally overrides his fear and tells him to stop his feet on his own. Once a horse realizes that fighting the restraint is too much work and chooses to yield instead, he learns a level of softness he'll never forget. Notice I'm keeping him on a very specific direction to the left. I don't want him having too many choices, like changing directions, or he won't be able to focus on the real question: how do I find the release? There, he made the choice to stop his feet and accept the unwanted, uncomfortable pressure, to move from flight to fight. I've gained his respect.
I'm just going to have to step over there. Like, he's so feely, eh? Like I can just barely push on him and he just listens to that feel. So nice. My new favorite. There we go.
A new favorite every day, don't you?
I got a new favorite every day, yeah. And tug on him right here. That felt pretty good, so I'll loosen it off a little bit. Tug on him right there. I'm seeing a little bit of a reaction there, but
Now, I'm
Right
in
there.
here working on this horse alone, but if you're just starting out or working with a tough horse, I'd highly recommend having a second person with you. It's much safer and easier when one person can focus entirely on the rope, knowing exactly when to pull, hold, and release, while the other maintains the angle and the push from behind. The goal is to teach the horse to yield to pressure, even when it's in a scary spot, like the cinch or the flanks.
and then to get it loose, all I do is throw that slack forward. And you can see how loose that rope drops down. And then the bottom moves back, and then I pull on it again and throw it forward again, pull on it again, and I can inch my way back with a, this metal Hondu releases really good, or a plastic burner on them. The other ranch rope I have does it too. So there, now I'm right back in the flank. There we go. So I don't want to pull very hard back there, just enough to get the reaction so I can keep it on. So I pull and release, pull, release, pull, release, pull, release, pull, release, pull, release, pull, release. So I just keep causing that action until he stops, right? Until he quits giving me the reaction.
That lack of reaction tells me he stopped fighting the restraint and started listening to the command.
There we go. So now I can't get the reaction. He's going to stop. Gives me a perfect opportunity to hold for 4 seconds. And that's what, there, he's starting to chew already. So holding for the 4 seconds is what makes him accept it. Really throw the slack out there. Good boy.
The rope is the ultimate truth teller. It's the thing that's going to cause a reaction, or it's not. To start, I get him on a field and send him forward, preferably into a trot. Then I'm going to snatch that rope and take it out on him fast.
And then I got to find that hot spot. So again, find that hot spot. It's about right here somewhere. There it is.
If I find a resistance, I'm going to keep repeating that lesson one direction per day until that reaction disappears. For most horses, even the ones with real problems, it only takes about 3 days of consistent work before they stop resisting entirely.
Hold for 4.
That's why I call these one-and-done lessons. But you have to pay close attention to the data the horse is giving you.
The pattern is key, right? If he's still got it in there, I won't know it. The only way I know he didn't get it out of him is because I pulled through the area that I was getting reaction, and the first time I didn't get a reaction, I quit. And then I check him 3 days in a row, usually to make sure it's gone. Just because I find it takes 3 days to get a good read. See, he's thinking about going the other way. He's thinking about stopping. I got to get it back there. There we go. There we go. Now I'm in the juice now. Oh, he's going to stop. See, that was really good because he stopped earlier. So that tells me that he's truly thinking about stopping when it goes back there versus kicking, right?
If you don't look for resistance and get rid of it now, my granddaughter or your grandmother or you will pay the price later when the horse decides to challenge a weaker rider.
Turn on my hand. Right at 4 seconds. Start my taps. First tap gets light. It's bigger till I get a scoot. Take the slack out of him. See if I can stop him. There we go. It was nice that I stopped him, but I got the kick, so I just hold on until the kick's gone and then start releasing when he picks it up. So I pick up on the command really, really slow and then release it right when he's going to lift his foot. I think I'll just send him one more time. See how he's really looking at me like he's...
Teaching a horse to shut down and yield to a stop from a rope on their leg is a key safety layer. If a horse is ever running, whether they are with you or alone, and they get caught on a wire or a fence, you want them to stop instantly rather than panic and injure themselves. Beyond physical safety, this lesson makes it much easier to transition to a stop from a bridle rein. It's especially helpful for greener or less assertive riders. Becoming a leader for your horse is simple, but it requires the right mindset. It doesn't matter how old or how strong you are. What matters is your consistency. You have to understand that every command you give must be followed through until the horse shows acceptance. You must learn to recognize even the smallest resistance. When you find that resistance, you revisit the same command in a pattern until it disappears. Size doesn't make the difference here. The consistency of your pattern does. That is what the horse is thinking about. Once they feel that consistent leadership, even a little bit of pressure is enough to get the right result. Try to make every horse you work with as good as the best one you've ever trained.
I got him. That felt really good.
You'll know you're on the right track with your pressure and your release based on one thing.
Stop him. Good boy.
If you find a horse that doesn't get any better or even starts getting heavier, it's because he's found your pressure and he's learned to brace against it rather than yield to it.
See, I'm just going to do that a few times just so he picks that foot up real pretty. And it'll be from the light pull and an early release. Start light. There we go. See, you got a way prettier lift. Good boy.
I work in layers. By going high, at the knee or higher, I can begin a conversation about the release with much less risk of a violent reaction. You might find resistance up here that you didn't see when the rope was lower, or vice versa.
Boy. Good boy. See, he's starting to chew after every single thing we do, eh?
This systematic approach is what makes our program one of the safest in the world. We aren't just restraining the horse. We're teaching him to be soft and to follow a feel through consistent time releases. By the time I move that rope to the most sensitive part of the leg, the horse is already understanding the game and chooses to stay calm.
So approach with a halter, I got it right out there and I'm going right for his nose, pretty aggressive. And then when he leaves, I turn to go back here and bring him back. And then when he leaves, I keep pushing and then go back. If I push enough that it thinks about leaving and then go back.
In this lesson, it's about him handling the fear of the halter. I'm motivating him with the backup to let me put that halter on his nose eventually. By moving into his space, I'm asking, who's moving who here in horse talk? If he tries to avoid the halter by backing up, I'm going to stay with him and maintain that pressure.
Either way, he's got to back up or put his nose in that halter. He's got a choice. Because once you get him to this point, it gets easy because, you know, when you're working him at liberty, he knows in the beginning when you first start them, if he leaves, we're going to send him at liberty. And he don't want to do that anymore. He's got that gig figured out. See, I just switch and go the other side there now. Go the other side and then send him. So one circle or until he faces up. See, he's wanting to face up. See how he wants to face up? I turn a little bit to my left and give him that opportunity. Did you see when I seen it way back there? Come back, make sure that's not looped over my arm. Right, it's hanging over my arm, not wrapped. Yeah, he always acts like he's super afraid. I'm just taking it out and motivating him by backing up. The only reason we got the backup is just from going forward long enough. He don't want to go forward. And then he'll realize he don't want to back up either. People behind him, so he just, you know, found a new thing to be worried about. There, slow down just a bit for that, and he tries to get further away from me, so I had to push a little more. So you can watch the distance between my halter and his nose. I'm closing in, just like the flag, closing in, closing in. Ah, don't do that. There, brought him back. Closing in, closing in, closing in. So the key here is that I don't quit closing in, because what's got him to this point is him leaving and people quitting. Try another horse. Chase him around, maybe throw a halter at him a couple times going by when you miss him and then leave him. Right? And I don't know that that's happened, but I've done that myself and created these kind of horses. That's how I know. There we go. Boy. So this spicy little dude, this is going to be a big lesson for him. Because it's a thinker, right? It gives him the choices. And it's one of those, I call them slow roasting lessons, right? We go slow enough they can think, and we can stay the course till we get the results. And all he's going to do is get tired of backing up. He's going to go forward, and I've already done one circle. I'm going to do 2 the next time and 4 the next time, and he ain't going to want to go forward again, and we're going to win. That's the pattern I'm already playing out in my mind. So I know what's going to happen 3 steps after this. You can see the resistance is right here. That's why I'm right out in front of him, so I can clearly see, he can clearly see my intentions. Swing that tapper at him when he starts going away. There. Back off a smidge for him going away. And that's when he gets straight, because he don't like to back up with his nose crooked because it's uncomfortable. Right? It's just he does that because he don't want me to put this on his nose. And this is a conversation that is perfectly timed when he accepts me putting this on his nose. And he accepts it because of the alternative. This is the kind of stuff that makes him quiet. This is the kind of stuff that makes him easy to be managed in the future, you know. When things go haywire, because they will. Things fall apart in any horse at any age. If you got a maintenance program, it's easy to find them, fix them, and move on. So you're never stuck at them doing something. What I find is a lot of times we as humans, we got a quick fix. We're always looking for a quick fix. What kind of band-aid can I put on this problem? Not realizing, because I was the same way, not realizing that band-aid, when you fix one problem with a band-aid, it shows up somewhere else. Right? Because if he doesn't want to accept this halter on his nose, it goes right to the saddle. He don't want to be caught. He don't want to be saddled. He don't want to be ridden. He don't want to cross the stream. You know, he don't want to go in the horse trailer. So we got to find tricks for every one of those things. I find that's what people do. I get all kinds of questions, you know, like, what do you do for a horse who won't go in a trailer? Well, I do what I'm doing right now, right? Because he probably is not good to catch if he won't go in a trailer. You know, there we go. Get it up on the nose and wait for him to stop. Hold for 4, 1,002, 1,003. One for good kicks, and just take it away. Here, chew, right? And then just wait for him to quit chewing, and I'm going to start from right back here again. Because he's got to have time to sort that out. You know, think about it. See, he chewed twice right there. He quit chewing and chewed again. Sometimes they'll chew 3 or 4 times. If they do, I just keep letting them. I need to let them time to absorb.
We've put these horses through the ringer in the last few days, teaching them to handle pressure and suppress that panic button. But doing it in a round pen is one thing. Doing it out in the real world is another story. In the final chapter, we're leaving the arena. We're taking the whole herd out on the trail for the final exam to see if this training holds up. Plus, I'm going to teach you the bend and send, the one specific technique that can get you out of a dangerous situation instantly if your horse decides to quit listening. Enjoy the journey, and thanks for watching.